rotating through content buckets or themes of the month. None of that really worked for me when it came to creating and executing a marketing plan that drove to revenue in my creative small business. By the end of this video, you will hear how I create a realistic marketing plan and strategy for my business. This is one thing I'm asked about all the time, and it's one thing I know I can teach because I've been doing it since 2010, baby. Hey there, I'm Ashlyn Carter, a conversion copywriter and a brand and launch strategist for creatives like you. I've created and supported marketing campaigns on everything from a spicy chicken sandwich to a flight museum launch to restaurant openings. But my favorite people to work with are the creatives, artists, makers, and dreamers like you. I put out trainings just like this every Tuesday, and I would love for you to join this fast-growing community. You can do that by going below, hitting the subscribe button and the bell next to it. That helps me put out more like this, and then I will make sure that I let you know when these trainings drop. So here is a behind the scenes look at what I've been doing for about 3 years now. Even though I used to design marketing plans and content marketing schedules and pitch calendars for businesses, I'll be honest, it took me 22 months of running my own creative small business to figure out a marketing plan that didn't stress me the heck out, and one that works for the nimble life that is creative entrepreneurship. So here's my secret. I call it my quarterly champagne campaign, which is a fancy way of saying I just do 4 big launch promos a year. That's all. Does 4 sound like something you can do? I hope so. Hit that like button if you think it does, or if creating a marketing and promo calendar has ever stressed you out before, and let's dig in. The first thing I love about this is that it allows me to start with my numbers. It almost goes without saying, but like anything, you've got to start with the end in mind. But if you have no idea how many client spots you actually need, then how do you know what to market for? So here is a trick for you. I recommend keeping your numbers right close to you so you can see them all the time. I keep a chalkboard right next to me on my desk. I have for, again, 3 years now, and it continually keeps top of mind what I'm actually working towards. Yeah, we have fancy spreadsheets that have this kind of information on them, but at least having it right here beside me, even when it was just me in my business, was so helpful because then I knew what all my efforts were chasing after anyway. Prioritizing your time when it's limited is tough. Someone wrote in, she's a mom, she said, I've only got 5 hours a week to work on my creative business. What do I do? Start here. If you don't get clear on this, you are going to get sucked into all the noise of this digital and online landscape that's going to tell you got to be on all the platforms all the time. You do not. But you're never going to be able to figure that out if you don't come back and start with your numbers first. I have a worksheet I've created that tells you 7 ways to get financially set in your creative business. I will link it below and you can grab that and download it. The second reason I love this is because it gives you time then to pre-launch and actually have the launch and then come into the cool down period. So let me define what a marketing plan is. This outlines all of your marketing efforts, your content marketing, social media, paid campaigns, everything for a coming time period. It's a statement of what's going on in sales and marketing, a look at your target audiences or publics that you're going after. It's a positioning of each of the offers that you're putting out there, and a description of what content you're going to actually spit out there to work towards these greater marketing goals and sales goals. What I like about having a plan that just lets me focus on these big 4 campaigns is that then I get to focus all of my copywriting efforts, my messaging efforts towards this one thing every single quarter. And this brings up something that we call in copywriting the rule of 1. Everything that you're writing needs to be written to one reader with one idea and one offer. This is also why I like that champagne analogy. You can't drink champagne every night. Well, you probably could, but it's kind of a special occasion and drink, right? You get to have your runway up to it, enjoy it, and then step away for a while. In my last video, I gave some big mindset shifts that I've had to work through before I put out something in the world, but in that I mentioned something I want to reiterate here. A launch is just a fancy word for a marketing campaign. That's all it is. I bring that up because even when I had no products or digital products or physical products, I launched my services, my one-on-one offerings, my website copywriting experience, or my email copywriting experience. You can absolutely launch your services, work to fill those spaces, and then move on. Comment below, is this starting to make sense? Does it feel a little maybe less stressful to plot those big 4 promo campaigns and then fill in the rest with anything that needs to go in, but really you're focusing all of your efforts on one big thing a quarter. Another reason I love this is because it absolutely helps me avoid burnout and get shiz done. If I'm focused on one big launch a quarter, then all of my PR efforts, my social media efforts, and my content marketing efforts can be directed towards that one goal. So inside my Prime to Launch program, I break this down with my students, but essentially your content marketing is going to fall into one of 3 different categories: hero content, hub content, and hygiene content. This was first coined by Google. So each week I've got one piece of hero content. This is the meat and potatoes, blog post, YouTube video, podcast episode. You have your one big deliverable that you're putting out there. Then you just work to direct back to that, your Facebook or Instagram lives, your email newsletter, your social media posts. So what I do is I pick that hero piece of content, I look at the marketing calendar, pick one a week, and then I count back a certain number of weeks, and I start lacing in the messages that I need to every single week with that hero piece of content until it's actually go time. This also helps me know when to slide in different things. That requested blog we've gotten or YouTube video, I know where to put those in the calendar based off of how it will help promote one of the things that I actually need to sell to provide for my family and my team. I don't feel like I have to be all the places or like I even have to be online all the time because that big hero piece of content is doing its job. If I do it right, it's doing its job even when I sleep. I do know though, no matter what is going on in the business, I have got to get that hero piece of content out every week. No excuses. Finally, with this all in place, I can focus my other marketing efforts on things like our social media calendar and public relations efforts. So this is part about how I organize my time so we have successful launches, because if I had to be online 24/7, I swear I would go out of my ever-loving mind. I also didn't like feeling like I had to blog 5 days a week or like I had to post on Instagram 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. I also didn't want an editorial calendar that made me feel like I was chained to my desk every single week and I had to write all of this content. That's why this quarterly champagne campaign system has helped me so much. Instead, I can focus my marketing efforts on creating content that answers these 7 questions. Number 1, what are recent trends in my industry? Number 2, what are big characteristics of my message or my service or my product? Number 3, what competitors do I have out there? And remember, competitor can also just be a way of thinking, how else will your people solve this problem by paying for something? What gaps are there out there that I can fill? Number 4, coming back to who. Who uses this service? What do they need from me? Number 5, what does my audience even think about this topic? Number 6, what is one message I've got to reinforce? What do they need to know? What do they need to be reassured of or trust me on before they raise their hand to purchase? And number 7, this is the big one. What questions am I asked about this all the time? That's also the fun one. Then things like your public relations efforts, your ads, your social media, all of that just comes in to support this that's already in place. Quick dictionary time. Public relations is non-paid marketing efforts. Think things like podcast interviews or speaking events, community events, partnerships, getting featured somewhere like Style Me Pretty or Southern Living. Paid advertising, paid marketing placements, pay to play, baby. Sometimes it can get a bad rap, but ads actually can work really well when done right. And I think you know what social media is. But these 3 things, these are just tools to execute and get that marketing plan out. So if they went away, it would hurt, but I would still be okay, right? They're just avenues. This is just one of, I'm sure, a million ways out there to think of marketing plan or strategy. It may not work for everyone, but it's my system and it's worked really well. It's been profitable, sure, but probably more important, it has been fun for me. I've actually enjoyed creating and executing on the content, and hopefully I've gotten them the opportunity to support people along the way, whether they want to work with me in a paid capacity or not. Sustainable marketing and wise stewardship of my time is so important to me as I'm running a creative small business. I hope hearing a little bit of the behind the scenes of my system was helpful for you, and if you want more support, I have a free checklist you can get your hands on. Look down below and you will be able to grab it. It's a checklist all about all of the writing needs you need for your next launch. That goes for the copy and the content you need written before it's go time. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and also hit the subscribe to know next week when the latest comes out. And if you need a pep talk to remind you that you absolutely can launch that website, that service, or that product this year, then make sure that you watch this next video I have teed up for you. Thanks again for watching.